Hello, YouTube. Me,
Yeah.
Michael D, coming in today.
Oh yeah.
We are going to talk about episode 3, season 2, chapter what, 11?
Chapter 11.
Like the bankruptcy, right? We're all declaring bankruptcy at some point. Corny ass joke.
Well, this one's called the Heiress.
Okay. I'm much better than the previous episode.
Ah, hello. Maybe the best episode ever in The Mandalorian. Oh my god.
It was only 36 minutes too. And it was like,
Oh, it was only 36 minutes?
yeah, but they
Wow.
covered so much ground. Like like this one blew me away. Like there's just so much there, and I don't know enough about lore. I haven't followed it enough. You're gonna fill us in because all I know is that there was action, there was no action, and there was more action. So like the starting point is that they're going into a planet, and then they're pulling a Pirates of the Caribbean, sinking their ship, missing the launch pad, and they finally reunite. Touching moment. Frog people reunite,
Mhm.
and Baby Yoda slash the child has not eaten every single egg.
It was action, lore, and emotion wrapped into one little sweet, delicious bundle.
That
And it,
that could have been a movie in its own right. That could have been like a half a movie in its own right.
mm, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, each one of these episodes are self-contained,
Yeah, like
but
it's
oh my god, dude. I actually feel bad for people that don't know like who all the different characters are that showed up in the show.
man, the man. I sure as hell didn't. I was like, oh look, there's more
And you
men.
still enjoyed it.
No, I enjoyed it, and then I was like, there's so much to talk about. Like, so apparently this is not the way. Like the whole
Oh yeah.
helmet thing is not the way, and he was just raised by a bunch of religious culty people.
Mm. Militant.
But it seems like he's got better armor than the other guys.
Oh, his armor is great. Yeah, he was on that ship and he took like mad blaster fire before they closed the doors and he wait, did they close the doors? He just tossed a little grenade at him.
He like threw it
Whatever.
in, and there,
Yeah, he was taking hits and he got up like it was nothing.
yeah, there's just so much to talk about. Like how do we even digest how much stuff went down on this episode? All
Oh,
right, so
it's entitled The Heiress, and that refers to Bo-Katan. And Bo-Katan is the so remember the three Mandos? Say, yeah, I don't know where to start. I'm like, I got one sentence in, and I'm like, I don't even know where to
all
fuck.
right, all right. So let's chop this.
It was a beautiful episode in terms of directing and cinematography. My God,
Let's chop this up.
you know
So
who directed it?
no,
It's Ron Howard's daughter.
Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah,
Wow, those family connections, really bring you in there.
yeah. No, but she's got talent. I mean, that was a beautiful episode. I think that was one of the most beautiful episodes ever. Like the part where they flew off the ship and it was exploding and the sun was setting.
Oh
I
yeah.
just like paused the episode at a random place to write down some notes, and I looked back and I was like, oh my god, this is like a painting I'm looking at.
No, it's not. All right, so let's chop it up minute by minute, bit by bit. So beginning, trying to land this damn thing, like that was cool. Like you had the thrusters and everything, and you're like, all right, what are they going to make it? Are they not going to make it? And then when they get to the place, there was a face hugger. They're at this place getting food, and a face hugger attacks Baby Yoda. I'm like, that's what you get for eating all those eggs.
Yeah, they played around with that a little bit, didn't they?
Food eats you. Like that was interesting.
Um, well, look, I'm just putting up my notes. I'm sorry. All right, here we go.
All good.
Yeah, so actually, before that incident with the thing, remember Lando was landing. Lando, fuck. Mando was landing with a broken ship through the atmosphere,
Yeah.
and I thought he was going to pull off the landing. And one of the things I wrote down to talk about was like, where does Mando rank as the best pilots ever in Star Wars? if he nails this landing, but he didn't nail the landing. He like at the very end, his ship tipped over. So
It's very like authentic. Like, all right, nobody's perfect, you know.
yeah,
So,
uh,
all right. So they reunite the frog people. Then they're introduced to the other Mandalorian, but these people, these Cthulhu-looking guys, these Pirates of the Caribbean-looking guys with the tentacles.
your prediction came true.
What do you mean?
You predicted last time that we would be on the water planet.
Yeah, kinda. But I was expecting more frog people.
Oh, you're expecting frog people on the
I was
water.
expecting Frog Planet more than like harboring Water Planet. So they were
The husband's green. The frog husband is green.
yeah.
Now that is interesting because I had thought maybe that the species that we're looking at were already in Star Wars. Do you remember the Last Jedi, the island that Luke was on?
Yes.
Do you remember those frog people that kind of look like like maids?
Do I? Not sure.
Yeah, they were in very few episodes, but they were there and they were like guardians of the island. Like, do you remember like Ray like knocked something down and they were like not kind of cool with that or whatever?
Yeah.
Those frog people, remember them?
Same ones?
That's what I'm thinking. They might be the same ones because that the frog lady was orange. So I'm like, yeah, they look similar, but um, I don't think they would put that in there like that. But then now we saw that the husband is green, so it could definitely be.
Possible, right?
Yeah, it could definitely be possible. But yeah, so Mando lands. He's like, he asks a dude to fix his ship. He figures out. He goes to the local cantina,
Right.
and they had that amazing apparatus, which should be incorporated into like a real restaurant. Remember that
They
thing?
don't clean they don't clean those. That's gonna be like so not hygienic. You know, all the food particles are gonna stick there and start growing bacteria. It's gonna be mucky.
It's kind of like an upside down hookah or something.
Yeah. But I think it's like a bacteria infested nightmare in actual restaurants.
What do you think if they served liquor or alcohol like that?
Food it's going to be a food safety nightmare.
Why?
Because what happens is if you put
Alcohol is
food
a disinfectant, isn't it?
no, but if you put like food like running through there, right, and it's like room temperature, bacteria grows. It could be contaminating everything.
All right, so forget about food, just alcohol.
Debatable.
Yeah.
Debatable. Like every night, I'm assuming you'd still have to clean and dry it, and make sure there's no bacteria or something. Like yeah, that's debatable because bacteria would just like kill itself, right? So in theory, maybe I don't know. All right, anyone watching this building a restaurant with hookah coming out like alcohol hookah, pay us royalties, please. Anyway, um,
We demand 87.5%.
of course, alcohol by volume. So anyway, back to what happened there.
Yeah,
So
so he goes into the bar.
we were saying that they're these creatures. Like what are these creatures that they're
Oh
meeting?
yeah. Well, first he goes to the bar, right?
Right,
He's like on the low. Where can I find Mando? Where can I find other Mandalorians? I hear they're around here. And
right,
he just slips him a few like coins,
right,
not underneath the table, but on the table.
right.
And which actually made me think the way he just paid the guy to fix his shit and the way he paid to get that information, like without even counting the coins. This
Right.
guy's loaded. Like Mando's got dough, bro.
Yeah, Mando's wealthier than he leads on. He's just got credits like lying around.
Yeah, it was like a Godfather type move. Like, yeah, give me the information I want. But yeah, that so the guy says, Okay, well, we know who's going to Amanda. What's he tell him? Go on a ship because these people know when they're Mandalorian or they're going to the Mandalorian, right?
Okay.
And the people on the ship are the aquatic species called Quarren. And what do we know about the Quarren?
They look like Cthulhu. They got whiskers.
They're called squid heads. That's the both in universe and out universe nickname for them.
So what they try to do? They try to kill Mando for his Beskar. Like and then but then like how do the other people know that Mando is there? Right.
Uh, oh, they probably had the eye on the dock. I mean, as soon as like what the fuck? Oh, sorry, shouldn't curse.
For anyone watching, this is not rated G. This is rated NC-17.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah. So these creatures basically they trap him. So Mando is kind of smart, but like he it's not like he's not as one man army as I thought.
Really?
Because he would have drowned in that thing. So I was like, figured like maybe you got some laser cutter, maybe you got some way out, maybe you got some explosives or something. But man, like that moment, Mando had to be saved.
Do you think that's the most intense danger he's been in an entire series?
Mm, he's had to be saved a few times.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
yeah. I think
oh,
probably the most intense danger was last season towards the end when they were trapped in the Imperial stronghold and the other Imperials showed up with that
right,
flamethrower.
right.
But anyway, just to preserve continuity, Quarn, that's the name of this species.
Okay,
And they live on Mon Cala, or
okay.
Mon Calamari. And
That's a good one.
the Mon Calamari is the same species, is the same. The Mon Calamari is Admiral Akbar species.
Okay, so basically, so they try to set a trap. They try to eat up the kid because the kid has no value at that point. I'm assuming because they just let him get eaten by. So they don't know the value of the kid.
They didn't know the value of the child.
They're just like it's just some kid and let this sea creature eat him, right?
They basically set him up to. The whole thing was a setup. Those, like the bartender and the ship guys, must have been working in tandem.
Right.
And the bartender told the ship guys beforehand, like, if there's any high value people looking for something, I'll send them to you, and
That,
then split the
that's very
reward.
that's like very mob like or mob centric ish.
Yeah,
Like it's all connected, right?
yeah.
So they do
It was
this.
a plan because they had him out at sea. Nobody could know what's going on.
That's true. So they basically do all this, and then so this whole thing happens. They go into there, and then the three Mandos come in, and then there's that person. She's the leader, or she is the actual Mando, or
Hmm.
because they're all Mandos, right?
This is where things get complicated. Okay, so remember we were talking about how Mandalorian civilization was split up into different factions and different tribes, clans, etc.
Okay.
Basically, who the dark saber, right?
Right.
We also said that that is a symbol of the Mandalorian ruler.
Right.
Whoever has the dark saber is, think of it like a key. Like if you have that key, you can open the door to Mandalore and you rule the actual planet of Mandalore we're talking about now.
So they have the dark saber. They become ruler. Like that's
Yeah, but you have to earn it either by conquering or by. They also have trial by combat, like in Game of Thrones, the Mandalorians do. So you could go one on one.
right. But do you think that guy earned it, or he just stole it?
The the Imperial
Yeah.
Moff Gideon. I
Yeah.
definitely. So I think what happened was he invaded. He was part of the invasion of Mandalore at some point, which we still don't know whether that was No, it had to be. All right, there's a lot of backs. I feel like we need to do a backstory just to explain the dark saber. But he
We'll
had,
get.
I think he obtained it sometime during the original trilogy or right after. I'm thinking maybe when the Emperor died,
Right.
like wanted to shut down Mandalore hard, so they just went in, invaded, killed a bunch of people, and then that guy ended up having the dark saber.
So he got it, and then the dark saber is just a lot more powerful than I thought, and you don't have to be a Jedi to wield it.
No, no,
So why is it that this one you don't have to be a Jedi to wield it, but the lightsaber you have to be a Jedi?
because the Mandalorians claim it as a kind of um, trophy of their culture. But you don't have to be a. I mean, anybody could wield a lightsaber. There's stuff in the comics where there's actually a stormtrooper that found a lightsaber,
Oh,
and he's part of a squadron of stormtroopers that are like special unit stormtroopers, and it's pretty dope to see that he like goes around killing rebels with the lightsaber.
that's pretty crazy. So yeah, so they meet up, and then so what the dark saber like cuts through lightsabers? Like what? Why is it so powerful?
It's not really powerful. It just looks cool as hell.
I'm like it doesn't even look like a lightsaber. It looks more.
Yeah, yeah, it looks cool as hell. It's more of a symbol. It's the symbol it represents. It's like
Okay.
this represents Mandalore. It's kind of like I don't know. In America, we really don't have anything like that. Like
I don't think so. No.
I'm sure other countries do.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, all right. So they meet up the three of them, and then in order to get, so they meet up with them, and then they're like, you have to help us get this ship, get us armed up, or what's the deal?
They save him.
Okay, twice because the first or kind of, well, the second time, so the other guy's like, you killed my brother, so now I'm gonna ambush you in the pier, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So they get ambushed, and then they come again to save him again. Or at that time he could have possibly fought them off.
I think he could have handled those dudes.
I think so too, right? Like I
Yeah,
think like entirely possible that he could have just been like, I got this.
but it did show him that these people do care about him, or they're not just out for something. They want to like actually save him.
Yeah, no, that's why it's like a little interesting. So they do all that, and then now,
And we find out that Mando is part of the Watch, which is Death Watch, which is from the Clone Wars animated series.
so Mando's in a faction called the Death Watch, basically.
Yeah, and that's a militant faction that's separate from the main faction. Like Bo-Katan, the redheaded lady,
Right.
she's uh she's kind of more with the mainline Mandalorians. Her sister used to rule Mandalore, so she is kind of in line to rule Mandalore. It's very complicated. Um, but yeah, she's has a rightful claim to the planet of Mandalore. And Death Watch and her clan have always been opposed to each other. They have like fundamental differences. Like Death Watch is more militant. The thing with removing the helmet, but that's something new because Death Watch removed the helmet in the Clone Wars cartoon series, which you're gonna have to like watch one of these days. I don't think we can keep doing these videos if you don't watch
Yeah,
the Clone Wars.
we got there's a lot of lore, and that's why you're filling this in for the audience. So
Yeah, but
so
like so much. This is like a history of a civilization.
it's crazy. So we're going into the whole bring us to your ship, right? So after that, he helps them. In order to help them with the Jedi, he has to help them get weapons, right? Was that the deal?
Yeah, so that place is a harbor for black market Mandalorian weapons.
Okay.
It's a pretty shady place we're talking about. It's a
Yeah.
black market harbor.
No kidding.
Um, for Mandalorians, and one of the things they sell there is Mandalorian weaponry, armor, etc. And one of the buyers of that stuff is the Empire. They go in there, they buy stuff from the port, and they go back and they fight with it, possibly fight Mandalorians with it, or just fight other New Republic factions with it. So basically, they know there's a Imperial ship coming in to pick up some weapons, and they are planning to intercept that ship, grab the weapons, and take it for themselves because their whole thing is to reclaim all Mandalorian relics back for Mandalore.
So, so when they get onto the ship thing that they're doing, right? They get on the ship, and I'm thinking to myself, stormtroopers are armed, right? And Imperial people are armed. Like, like they're really pushing the envelope to how bad these stormtroopers are aiming and how incapable they are. Like they're really pushing that envelope. I'm like, okay, these are military guys, right? I'm like, what's the IQ? Like, what are they all like clones? So they're lacking IQ or something, or like,
No, they're not clones anymore. After the prequel trilogy, they started listing humans.
but are they all just bad at their job?
Yeah, that's never been fully explained. I mean, it's like a running joke.
Yeah, yeah, because like they're self making it a running joke, right? But after a while, I feel like it's just kind of sad.
In what sense?
Like, like they have these rifles, right? And they're in a cargo ship with weapons that the Mandalore need or wants to be able to like build their army, right? So they're surrounded by capable equipment, and they're not using it. They're just using these blasters, and they're just like, or either they're missed or they can't do anything. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
I think that the idea behind that is kind of like the Empire had to raise an army so quickly that they didn't properly train all their soldiers.
I think that's a better explanation, right? Like they couldn't train them, so that's why they're all crappy.
Yeah, they didn't have the same precision as the clones.
Yeah, because like they don't know what they're doing, bro.
And they even made a reference to that in the episode, right? They're
Yeah,
like
like they wouldn't even be able to hit a
side of
bantha,
a bantha, yeah.
and I'm like, that's just sad, man. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that. Like that's just sad, you know. Like that's just sad. I don't know. So they they go in, and then like that moment where, so the other Mandos, right? They have like a limited amount of time. There's a countdown, right? Because he's gonna try to crash this ship, and then he's like, okay, we're gonna kamikaze this, right? Like suicide by whatever, right? Because that's what when he was like, okay, like long live the Empire, right? So I think long live the Empire is their version of kamikaze, right?
Yeah, they're still devoted to the imperial doctrine that they grew up with.
So long live the Empire. They're just gonna kamikaze this ship. They start driving it down, and then when they do that, I'm like, people gonna die now.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, okay, they're gonna go down. Things are like shit is going down, and Mando's the only one. He's like the brave one. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna take all the hits because, what he has better armor than the other Mandalorians. Like how does that work?
Yeah, the other Mandalorians have older armor. His stuff is brand new, pure Beskar. I'm not sure if the other Mandos all have Beskar. I think it might be a less purified form of Beskar.
Because he's just taking the hits. He's having like the grenades, and he's like, I guess we're gonna, like, this is what we do now, right? So he throws it in, things light up, and then fire, and then here you go. Like, is that how it works?
um, Wait, he goes in. They all blast him. He's taking shots.
Right,
A lot of them are bouncing off, but a lot of them start hurting him because, like, he goes down to one knee, then two knees. Then he throws the grenades.
right.
The grenades take out the rest of the stormtroopers on the ship. And yeah, what was the question? Sorry.
So he's going commando basically. He's like solo, and then he takes them all out. So Mando's got some chops, right?
Yeah,
And then so gets some chops, goes in there because they need the weapons because they're trying to build an army of their own, right? And they don't have weapons, so that's why they're in the cargo thing. And then the guy is like, so she's like, okay, what's her name? Bo-Katan?
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan is like, tell me where the dark saber is because this makes me like the heiress or whatever. The guy goes, if you're asking this question, you already know where it is. So the other guy has the dark saber basically, and he's like, all right, I'm just gonna commit suicide by mouth. It's like their version of a cyanide pill.
Yeah, it's actually a little electric shock pill, and he kills himself because Bo-Katan is like, tell me where Moff Gideon is, or I'll kill you. And he says, if I go to Moff Gideon and he finds out that I'm the one who told you, he's gonna kill me.
So what's the point? Either way, I'm dead, right?
Yeah, and plus, long live the Empire. So, I mean, he was going down with the ship anyway. So, it has a very like Nazi-ish kind of feel to it. Like you
Yeah.
got these guys are the Empire here is kind of like I mean, yeah, they're kind of like the Nazis after World War II, or if like more Nazis survived in World War II and they had weapons and they scattered out in different places.
No, that's why I'm like that's why I'm like they definitely did did it very like it's there's obvious references, right? So now what so now he helps them in a way that without his help they would have never finished their mission, right? So she's like kind of thankful and go talk to
Ahsoka Tano. Oh my god.
so we're going to see her eventually CGI live action basically.
Rosario Dawson.
Like we're going to see her in live action now.
Yes, Rosario Dawson's gonna play her.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy. Like I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they bring this character to life. Like that's going to be super interesting. So all right. So and at the end, Baby Yoda does not eat the little frog people anymore. There's still eggs left, and then there's a continuation of the line. So I kind of don't feel so guilty.
Yeah, the resolution kind of there was like Baby Yoda realized that these eggs become life forms. So
So he's not so much of a psycho. So we're basically. I don't know if the next episode is going to top it unless they show you Ahsoka Tano.
um, there's nowhere to go but up from here. We still have, yeah. I mean, he's going to see Ahsoka Tano now. Is that? Do you think they gave him the right information?
Well, I mean, I like that coming from someone that watched Star Wars outside the Mandalorian or like knows of cartoons and stuff outside of it. I think it's going to be interesting.
But do you think when they said Ahsoka is here, do you think she's really there, or is he gonna have to?
I think they can drag that out because this was just episode 3 of like there's eight episodes in the season, right? They just did episode 3, and then they
Yeah,
still have to
yeah,
save
you're right.
something for they got to save something for what you call it season 3, you know.
Well, the big Jedi that's still out there that hasn't we haven't really been talking about.
What?
Luke Skywalker. He's alive and well during this timeline. He's rebuilding the Jedi Academy during this timeline.
Oh yeah. So I mean, there's so much more that they can go into it, and I'm like, okay, what are they gonna do after they return the baby? You know, it will, Mandalorian's done, basically.
Mm, yeah. Wow, that's true. Yeah, he's like really close to returning the baby. Because like next episode, potentially he could just go to Ahsoka Tano and be like, "Hey, you're a Jedi. Okay, here's the baby."
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking
That
like,
makes me sad to think of Mando being separated from the baby.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, is that it? You know,
No, it can't be. You're right. There has to be a lot more stuff.
like they gotta they can't make it too easy, but they also can't make it too difficult. You know?
And there's still the dark saber that has to be addressed.
Yeah. So the
And
like
we got Boba Fett in the background somewhere doing something.
like the Clone Wars is like the Clone Wars, the whole that cartoon's done, right? Like they
Yeah,
wrapped that up.
yeah, that was end of last year.
So they wrapped up that. This is basically the continuation from the Clone Wars.
This is more the continue. Yeah, yeah. There's huge Clone Wars tie-ins in this series, and part of that is because Dave Filoni is an executive producer of the series, and
Okay.
Dave Filoni is kind of the spiritual successor of George Lucas when it comes to Star Wars lore. Like they made the Clone Wars together, and George Lucas like told him like everything that was on his mind in regards to like what Jedi is, what the history is, everything. So the person on this world that knows more about Star Wars than anyone else besides George Lucas is Dave Filoni, which is why this show is so lore heavy.
Like I like that they're keeping into lore and that they're really like making sure that they're flushing out the world, not so random. Like they're adding new stuff, right? A new story, but they're not doing it in a way of like pulling it out of thin air and like, oh look, you know, look at this new thing that like fits in and like it's not like they're pulling out like My Little Pony out of thin air and they're like, here you go, we have My Little Pony in the Mandalorian now. So
All right, predictions for next episode.
prediction, I don't think that they're gonna meet Ahsoka Tano. Like I think that he's gonna go to a place where he's got to fight a bunch of people, and maybe at the end there's a cameo that he meets her, kind of like how there's like the cliffhanger of the last uh of like what you call it, episode 7 of the Star Wars movie, right? I think it'll be like that.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. It's
So
actually a great time for a cliffhanger because it's episode 4.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to have a season.
What about you? What do you think?
I agree. At first, I was thinking like, oh, we'll just see Ahsoka, but that wouldn't be really good storytelling because there's so much more to go. I do think I agree with you. He's going to go through a bunch of challenges before he gets Ahsoka, and we probably won't see her in the next episode. Or if we do, it'll be like the very last shot, like Boba Fett. But I
Right,
also just thought at the top of my head that cliffhanger that you mentioned.
right.
So this whole time in these both these series, both these seasons, we haven't seen Mando in a position where Baby Yoda is separated from him for an extended period of time. So imagine like a cliffhanger where the Empire like kidnaps Baby Yoda or somebody gets Baby Yoda and like Mando is like captured somewhere and in dire straits.
That'd be crazy, right?
That would be a big emotional
Because
point to hit on because people are so fond of the bond that Baby Yoda has with the Mandalorian.
like he takes care of Baby Yoda,
Mm-hmm.
and he made sure that there's food and that the face huggers, like, I was surprised because at the end when like the thing was like dropping down, I was like, Mando's not that oblivious, right? He's not that oblivious. And then it's like shooting. I was like, yeah, I expected that to happen because yeah, he's obviously gonna like stab the face hugger, right? Because he's like he's got sonar in that helmet or something. It's not like they can catch him off guard like that.
That was a nice stab too. He was just like beep.
Yeah, it's like quick to the point, and then dinner, right? Free lunch. So it's gonna be really interesting. Like I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, big time.
Uh, for reference, 3 a.m. Eastern time. That's when it comes out. So
Yeah, we made a mistake the last time thinking it was
like midnight Eastern
mid,
time.
midnight Eastern time, but it's actually midnight Pacific time, which is 3 a.m. over here on the.
I mean that kind of makes sense. But so basically, if between now and then, by magical reason, we have a bunch of people following us for this stuff, we might do this messed up at 4 a.m. or like 5 a.m. and we'll do this for you messed up. If I get 100,000 views on this channel and people are following us between now and then, which I hope will happen, but I'm not banking on it. Me and Michael promised to do this at 5 a.m.
Oh yeah, tell people to. We should tell people to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, so guys, if you could subscribe
That one.
while we still have the life to do this, subscribe, and then we promise to do a series called Michael D and Bryant T Talks, and we'll make this happen. So join us next time while we talk about episode 4 and other types of stuff on our YouTube channel /playlist.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Peace out.
Always.